We're live, sir. So,
Yeah.
so what do you think, Joe? Did Coinbase just take the? Oh, I lost Joe, and he's back.
Did
Well,
what?
could
I'm
be
sorry.
maybe back.
No, it was
That's
you
all
went
right.
dark. What were you saying?
You dropped. I said, did Coinbase just take the air out of the oxygen out of the room for other L2s and L1s with this announcement today? Did you see the news?
Yeah, I saw it in a couple of places. Because we were speculating yesterday on whether there was a token coming and things like that.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know what I know there's a new exchange they're talking about over there and different things. I don't know if it we have to see the proofs in the pudding, I guess. We have to see what they can implement. Optimism, obviously a great chain. But I don't know, if it's going to, what effect. What do you think?
Well, look, I think it's a gut punch for Polygon, a gut punch for Phantom. It's 110 million fucking user accounts, right? And you got to ask yourself, are they, that's a nice onboarding path. Look, I have said for years that if Coinbase doesn't figure out a way to adapt and become a part of DeFi, that they would just lose out to banks that eventually begin onboarding users to be able to buy crypto, or they just become an onboard, on ramp, off ramp, for crypto. And they haven't changed anything with that respect to that in terms of, they're still charging ridiculous fees and all of that. But look, I think this is brilliant. I listened to part of the article in the car up with Jesse, the guy who heads it, the chain base for Coin. And they talked a lot about the fact that, brought this 6 years ago. He had like a master plan he was working from, and that included what they've built out with what they've been building out with staking and everything else. And this was part of the grand plan. So for those of you not aware of the news yet, Coinbase announced today that they're launching it's on testnet now, launching on mainnet in a couple of months, a layer two, forking Optimism's code and working in conjunction with Optimism. They're supplying developers to the core team of Optimism. They are going to provide fees back to Optimism from mass fees, that there will be no Coinbase token. The chain is called Base, and they are going to start off incredibly centralized. They will be the only, I don't know what it's like a validator node on other chains. They'll be the only validator initially, but they are planning to make nodes permissionless and purely decentralized, so anybody can be on it, and I want to be on that. And so, from my perspective, this is a really fucking smart move in terms of strategically positioning themselves to be more than what they are today, because I think what they are today is not a long term thing. And so I think it's smart. I think what's going to be really interesting is how regulators respond to this, how much they make this truly permissionless. Are they going to, block transactions from regulated wallets, blacklisted wallets? How are they going to handle, things coming on their chain that may not be seen as attractive to regulators? The other side of that is, if they release this and make this a purely decentralized permissionless chain and they don't have control over it, then it's kind of hard for regulators to do a hell of a lot if they can get it to that point as rapidly as possible. In the short term, they're probably up for some scrutiny, but it's a shit ton of sense. If you've got that many users and you've got them logging into Coinbase and you've already got them KYC'd and you have a wallet that works on DeFi dApps, you build, and you're going to build your own dApps to put on your chain, then that's what those people are going to see first. They're going to see Coinbase's dApps on their chain. Questions will be, are the fees going to be high, all that. But I think it's a brilliant move. I really do. So.
Well, I mean, I think it was the move that was telegraphed, 3 or 4 months ago when Kathy Woods doubled down on her position there. I think we all knew something was going to go on.
Are you looking up?
I'm sorry? What?
You're in?
I'm not breaking up on my phone or on my screen. I think it might be your end. I've got no VPNs on.
Okay.
So my point is that I think we all saw it coming. I was a little bit surprised about the fact that it was optimism, to be honest. But I still think it's a good move. But as far as escaping any regulatory scrutiny, you always could go after the parent company, Coinbase. So that still comes. But I think it's the same thing that, CZ at Binance has been talking about forever with the BSC play. It was all about going to decentralization. So, we all know how hard that is to implement. So I think that, it's a great announcement, but let's see what happens on the implementation side.
Joe, I'm going to drop out and come back in. Euphoric says it's my side that's breaking up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true, Niblets. That's what I was just too. That I think that double down was the signal. And let's see. Thanks. I was just like looking for something to throw on, and I was like, hey, let's grab this one. And what if someone forks? Yeah, there you go. This is where all the issues are going to come in when the stuff that we like about, say DeFi and crypto, how is it going to interface with those protocols to bring, how do you vet that money and how do you know where it's coming from? Because the parent company, Coin, they're going to be exposed to a lot of regulation. But it's a good move. I do like that there's 110 million users now heading toward the DeFi space. The question also is, what is this exchange going to look like base? I saw some notes on it yesterday. How is that going to then tie in? Is it going to be closed off or open? Do they got a KYC again there? I'm not sure, but I definitely like the move. Oh, that's euphoric about you breaking up. And yeah, no, I was thinking that too, because I was going, I did see optimism popping, but I was thinking, yeah, with all the Coinbase use, it's my primary off ramp, or it's my only off ramp, really. If they were going to do a token, how are they going to award everybody? So I was definitely psyched to learn about that. But now it looks like no token. So
yeah, they're not going to paint that. They're not going to paint that target on their back by releasing a token.
They could do it. They could do it without putting a target on their back. They already have a target on their back. To me, it's like you could just airdrop tokens to everybody, and that wouldn't get them get the exposure of doing an ICO or a fundraise.
Yeah, but there are some questions from a lot of legal experts in the space about airdrops as well. So I think it's smart of them not to do a token, not to give them anything else.
Well, not now. Yeah, I agree. But it just depends on. I'm just always trying to gauge your cheerleading effect to figure out what is your rationale, because sometimes your points go back and forth, and I just never thought I'd see Brad Nickel be a Coinbase cheerleader.
Well, look, I've said all along, I'm not a Coinbase cheerleader. I think this is a smart move. I've said all along that Coinbase is destined to become, just an on and on ramp if they don't move into DeFi. And they have been doing that. We commented months ago about the fact that their wallet was becoming a really usable, powerful thing on mobile. And they were making smart moves in that regard. So from my perspective, the fact that they are launching this is the only move that I think can help them get where they want to be. So my question becomes, it's interesting because launching the separate chain, there's no real technical reason for it, right? They could have just launched dApps on Optimism and said, hey, Optimism is our chain of choice, right? So yeah. The question you have to ask yourself is, Are you launching your own chain to keep control of what's happening on that chain? Or are you launching your own chain because it's a better business strategy to move users into it and have it be branded as Base? And it's better for your bottom line. It's better for your company because you're a public company. I'm leaning to the latter, but there will be a lot of people that say that they also want to be able to control things from a regulatory perspective. I'm going to take in the interview with what's his name, Jesse Pillock, something like that. Anyway, in the interview with him, I'm going to take him at his word that they do plan to completely make this a decentralized play. And it makes sense. Look, they have their own wallet. They have the gateway from their users onto the chain. And so they'll be able to push the things that they're building first and foremost to those users. So it's going to be interesting. The other thing that's going to be interesting is to see if there is a flood of developers that say, fuck it, I want to get my hands on those 110 million users, right? How many projects move their EVMs onto Base? How much focus moves onto Base because of that base of users, right? This is a lot of the uninitiated masses who have never touched DeFi. It's the people that we talk about when we talk about how silly it is to say that 20% of people own crypto, so that's a political force. Those are the people that have never done anything more than speculate on buying tokens on Coinbase. And that's probably 99.9% of all the people that are on Coinbase. So it'll be interesting to see that adoption path and to see how much people actually are willing to do that are already on Coinbase, the exchange. We'll see.
Yeah, I suspect that they're going to look, they're not going to be able to throw out stuff with 60% yield and things like that.
No.
I mean, I don't know how they're going to pull that off because they're bringing in, like you said, the newbies or the people that don't really get it. They don't know how to get over to the DeFi stuff. So it's going to be a much more generic play. But, the fact that you said there's 110 million users now, I don't know their appetite for this type of product. I have a feeling there are a lot of just spot buyers. But what other move do they have? The thing is, if you look we talk about deglobalization and compartmenting amongst the U.S. regulated audience versus the rest of the world. We all know Binance is in the crosshairs. Yeah. So, for Coinbase to then do what Binance has been trying to do forever, it makes a lot of sense. So I'm with you on that. I think it's a very smart move. I just haven't seen them really do much of, Coinbase do much of what they say they're going to do over the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah. So this is going to be a tough one. But hey, kudos.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think you're right that it's the only move, and I think you're right that it makes sense. It was interesting during the interview. Jesse was commenting quite a bit on the fact that he has utmost respect for the BSC, the Binance Smart Chain team, and he makes it clear that their model is the same as the Binance model. We have all these users. Let's move them into this, right? Now, the difference, I think, is the makeup of the users. Binance has much more degen-oriented retail users. They were all much more willing to dive into this degen shit that happens on the BNB Binance Smart Chain. Or is it? No, now it's BNB chain.
BNB chain.
BNB chain. Yeah. So they may not see as fast or rapid as an adoption as Binance has. And the other interesting thing is as a developer, you think, oh God, I want to get to these 110 million users, but how easily are you going to be able to get to those users, right? At the end of the day, most of those users are going to come through a Coinbase interface into Base, right? It's either going to be from the website or it's going to be from Coinbase's wallet. And so Coinbase, that's where Coinbase can make sure that they don't have regulatory problems, is making sure that they decide what their users get exposed to. And so it's like what we talk about all the time, right? You may get one user onto an application in DeFi on a chain, but getting them to other applications on that chain is very difficult, and they don't know how to find them. So if a user is coming in through the wallet, the interface that Coinbase provides them, the only way you probably are going to get any significant exposure to those users, at least in the short term, is by getting Coinbase to putting it in some directory of applications that are available. And so that means you're going to have to toe the line on what Coinbase thinks is acceptable or not acceptable from their regulatory exposure, I think. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know that as a developer I would race over there. The other interesting thing here for me is the choice of not going to Polygon. With everything that they have going on, with the biz dev machine they have going on, I would love to hear kind of the analysis of why they didn't choose Polygon, one of the Polygon layer twos. Maybe it was just maybe they just really love what Optimism is doing from a technology perspective, and that was why they made their choice. Now, one of the things that the team talked about, the Bankless guys talked about today, was that in fact the build of Optimism is meant for this kind of thing. Their goal is to build kind of this not monolithic, but this kind of seamless super chain of chains, where people can easily move from one chain to the next without any hassles, without any problems. That they'll have all of these specialized chains or branded chains or corporate chains or whatever that are all living in the Optimism ecosystem, but that it's easy to hop back and forth between them, and the user won't experience anything different. So I don't know we'll see, but certainly it's the news of the day, I guess. What's Coinbase? I wonder how the stock's doing today.
I wasn't paying attention. I did see that Circle's launching a new stablecoin on Coinbase today. Really? Euro C. Yeah, Euro C or something like that. The Euro stable.
Let me see.
So look, this is really about, to me, they're fencing off, geofencing the market in ways, where, Circle now looks like their IPO's back on the table. Coinbase is launching this DeFi exchange or decentralized exchange. Circle launching a new stable coin, a Euro stable. Everything's coming into play from like geofencing everything apart. I just don't know how it's ever going to go into the stuff that we play in. Is that going to still be available in the US? I mean, is it really now? I don't know. These all seem to be overseas.
Yeah.
So it's a mainstream play, but perhaps institutional as well. Good things all around. But I am curious, like you said, I did see Optimism was over 3 earlier today, I thought, but maybe
it's up
15.84%
on the day. But interestingly enough, I mean, I guess this really, what the fuck? I just had that chart. Oh yeah. I guess this really is a reflection of, people don't really get it outside in the stock world, because Coinbase is down 0.17% on the day.
But the institutional investors got it. I mean, they went in hard, 2 months ago. So, all the people that were already there got it. So, whatever, these discussions had to have been going on at, the board meetings and things like that. So, but again, it's, we'll see what happens. Execution.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I like it. I like it
too. I do too. I think it's a smart move. I think it's the smart thing to do. I think it benefits the ecosystem. The more people you get exposed to to DeFi, the better we're all going to be off, right? So it's a good thing for DeFi. So let's see. Niblet says, sounds like Avalanche chain of chains. Yeah, it's similar with Avalanche's subchains, but I don't know. I don't know technologically the vision, how well they match up. They talked a lot today about the seamless connection between these layer twos using Optimism code. I'm not sure how much of that's a reality yet or not, but Avalanche has these subchains for games or whatever, and I haven't seen a lot of news about those chains doing real well, except for maybe 1 or 2 games. I don't know if you've heard anything, Joe.
Dude, I don't know if it's your mic or if it's both of us, but your mic is crackling. Can anybody say, are we both crackling, guys, or is it just Brad?
You're not crackling to me. I think it's my connection over here today. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Let me. You know what? I'll switch over to the iPad, but then you're going to have to drive screen.
Well, you can keep going. No, I mean, hey, look, East Denver coming up next week. I mean, I'm just getting avalanched with requests. So might want to make sure we have that mic fixed for next week. Because they're coming out of the woodworks everywhere. So
we're going to test out those. That's right. The wireless.
The new ones.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And also, if anybody's going out there, let me know, because definitely down to meet up and hang out. Lots of the people that we talk to regularly are going to be out there. I don't know how many of the audience people are going out. Oh yeah, Euphoric says he can still hear you clearly, just a little bit of static.
Okay. Then I won't go with the second camera. Never mind. All right. Let's see what else. I don't even know what the fuck else I have open.
Well, no, we had a guest scheduled for today, but they rescheduled till this week of the 6th.
Yeah.
So that's why we're not. I put some stuff in the chat too, but it was mainly macro stuff. But I did hear that, like, you guys remember Router Protocol that was on DeFi? They're just revealing a DevNet of its layer 1 blockchain. So that would be something that people's
Router's launching their own blockchain.
That's what it looks like. Blockchain infrastructure company Router Protocol has just revealed the DevNet of its layer 1 blockchain.
Oh, of course. I search on Router. What am I going to fucking get? You're a genius, Brad.
What'd you get?
Routers.
I thought it was going to be like a Roto-Rooter or something like that. But yeah, I was in that one last year sometime, but they were always promising multi-chain, cross-chain, all of that. And I guess maybe they got there. But I exited before that, I presume. But it's definitely something to pay attention to. And what is this? How will the... Oh, you got that up. Okay.
Yeah, 0x0010 said, how will this new base chain compare to Sex Chains, BSC, and Kronos? Well, look, I think ideally what they compare to from the perspective of Coinbase is the this idea that that they will be more decentralized. I think is really the angle that they're trying to go with this. Hold on, Joe. I'm trying to get our links loaded up. There we go.
Yeah.
So, I definitely, what the fuck is going on with my connection today? This is just brutal.
I can hear you fine.
No, I know. I just can't get fucking anything to load. It's just brutal. Anyway, I think they're going to try to make it look like they're more decentralized than BSC. Kronos, I don't know the details on Kronos' decentralization, so I can't really speak to it. But I can tell you that, BSC is controlled by a small number of nodes, all approved by the team at Binance Chain. And, so it's highly centralized. But right now, that's not causing them any problems. The fact is that their users don't give a shit. It's the largest usage-based chain in the world. But for retail users, it's a place I want to probably spend some more time because of all the activity there, all the liquidity, everything that's happening over there. It's also filled with a lot more scams because there are retail users there. But, that's just part of what happens. But so anyway, I would say that it's going to be very similar until Coinbase decentralizes it.
With Kronos, was that the crypto.com guys?
Yes. Wait. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Kronos is crypto.com.
Because I haven't really paid attention to them for probably a year.
Me either.
But I remember there was the thesis about since they had all the customers at crypto.com, a la say Coinbase, and they launched their own chain Kronos, that it would get all the activity from the crypto.com depositors. And I'm wondering, I'm sure the Coinbase guys have studied that analog, but I'm curious. I'd be curious if anybody knows to let us know, how they think Kronos has turned out over the last, year or so. Did it get the volume, things like that? Because it was pretty far up there. It was in the top 10 for a while in TVL and things like that, if I remember.
Yeah.
But that was maybe before this latest crypto winter set in, strong.
I don't know. 0x0010 says, no coin is interesting, perhaps incentivizing devs as airdrop farming. Incentivizing devs as airdrop farming. I don't know. They said purely they're going to remain, the token of the chain will be Ethereum, and they're not going to do anything different. So I don't know. We'll see.
Wait, so they're going to have Ethereum gas fees then?
Yeah.
Or
No, it'll be cheap like Optimism, but the token to pay for gas fees will be Ethereum.
Got it. Okay.
Euphoric says maybe Bankless is trying to DDoS attack Brad. Maybe. I don't know. Now they're quoting me in their marketing emails for permissionless. So they better pony up a fucking media pass this year, Joe.
Don't they always give media passes?
They refused to give me one last year.
Oh, okay. I thought that I'm mixing them up with Decentraland or something, or not Decentraland. What's that other one?
The Decentral gave us media passes. Yeah, they were great. They're always great. But permissionless said no. And it can't be because they think I'm any kind of competition to the Bankless guys. I mean, give me a fucking break. We're not even like. It's like.
Well, we're more substantive, but we don't cover as much ground as they do.
Yeah, that's it. We also don't cover as many listeners as they do.
Yeah, not live, but of course, our aftermarket listeners, it's pretty strong.
Yeah, it is. But we're not quite to their level. Yeah.
The metric I like to say is that we have probably 10 billion plus watching our show every day. In investable capital. So that's a more important metric to me than 50,000 people with a quarter in their pocket.
That's good. I like that.
I guess that's why they're bankless.
All right, let's see what else is going on here. Let me make sure I don't load something up I already loaded. We already did that. Oh, Solana's shutting down their Miami. Your office in Miami is shutting down, Joe.
Oh, boo-hoo. I always thought, look, we talked about that a few times, but it seems to me that I like the real world sort of interfaces with, say, crypto in general. But, to get people to show up, they have to be pretty much Solana maxis, right? I mean, right. It's not like, so I think these kind of like spaces would work, but if it was for all crypto, where there were BTC ATMs and there was, NFT minting stuff and, across any platform. I just think it's hard. You kind of, with the physical cost of real estate or the cost of real estate in Wynwood too these days, I mean, it's the days of, it being filled up with Salvation Armies and Goodwill warehouses are, long in the past.
Well, to me, it's just, and look, Miami and New York City, like you just decided to pick the highest, most expensive rents besides San Francisco in the country. Look, to me, I think you're absolutely right. It's absolutely silly. It should be about DeFi and crypto in general, making it an educational hub, let people come in and learn what Bitcoin is, what Ethereum is, have classes, that kind of shit. This idea that, you're going to have thousands of Solana fans running into your store on a regular basis is just silly. I mean, to me, it's just as silly as the stupid fucking phone, but I know there are people that listen to us that disagree with me on that, but
what phone?
The Solana mobile phone.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, to me, the phone. I know people also disagree with me on this. That the phone to me is still a commodity. It's just communications. I'm not really, as you know, I'm Android guy, so I'm not really big on, having the cool phone. Although I do remember in Hong Kong, like a couple of years ago, I remember this is 10 years ago. There was, those diamond encrusted gold phones. They weren't iPhones either, but people would always leave them out on the table at the peninsula, the bar there. It's a very statusy thing. Yeah. But I think now it's like, I can't even really tell the difference between an iPhone and an Android. They all look the same. Until I use it. And then I have to ask my daughter, and I'm like, how do I do this here? But as far as seeing one pull it out, I don't, from a distance, I don't see a difference. I mean, if it's gold and diamond encrusted, I can recognize that. Yeah, that makes sense. But, I like that metric, Euphoric. You see that?
Yeah, I do too. I think we'll start using that. Total value watching. That's gold. That's fucking beautiful. Love that.
Because also our core audience is super sophisticated in all of the DeFi tech and across all the chains. So it's not just total value watching, but it's like total, I guess,
brain power, IQ,
intelligence,
IQ. Yeah.
There you go. DeFi IQ, total DeFi IQ watching.
There you go.
And we have developers.
TDI.
Yeah, we got OG miners. We've got just about everything in the mix that you would want. We got NFT people.
Yep.
We got, soulbound NFT people. We got just about everything. We got OG kind of software dudes from the 80s here. We got finance people. We have everything. And so, that's what I think is appealing to our dialogues.
Yeah, totally agree.
So,
did a great interview yesterday afternoon with lead guy at Bancor about their new carbon protocol, but we actually spent 45 minutes to an hour talking about what happened at Bancor. And really, really good conversation about what they went through, what it was like, the impact on the team, the impact on the community, the developers, and why they launched Carbon, which is actually really fucking cool and solves a huge problem for all the people in the material indicators community that probably would never trade on DeFi because of the speed and capabilities. They're solving that problem with Carbon, at least to some extent.
Okay. Remind me again. Bancor was tied in with EOS back in 2017, 2018-ish, right?
I think they did a partnership with EOS back then.
Yeah, now I remember. Yeah,
Bancor,
they're both Draper-backed entities. They're both Tim Draper entities.
Yeah, Bancor was the first AMM, the very first AMM to launch. They feel like Hayden at Uniswap basically, the community gets outraged that Hayden stole their concept. I typically say and I think the team feels the same way. That being copied is going to happen. You have to be able to compete, and so OG 80s, I feel seen.
Well, keep going.
So anyway, they're the original AMM, and if you remember, I had interviewed Mark, the guy I interviewed yesterday, and another one of the team members last year. And it was just before the launch of their version 3. And they had some members of the team had been fighting adding yield farming of their BNT token to their platform, including Mark. But the community voted to do it anyway. And so when 3AC and all of the other mess occurred, a bunch of whales that were in Bancor pulled out of the liquidity and dumped their tokens all simultaneously, which created this kind of rolling, cascading shit within their framework, and then made it impossible for their protections against impermanent loss to actually have any value. So they had to freeze everything up. Anyway, we talked through the whole story. I'm not going to go through the whole thing here, but what it was like, what the experience was like, the lessons they learned from it. And then this new protocol, Carbon, is really cool. And I think it actually hits a really sweet niche of people that actually want to trade on DeFi, but the limitations of DeFi make it incredibly difficult to do that. And this platform, I think, has a ton of potential. So see what happens. So
now that you said that, now I'm remembering getting a letter from Bancor when I was doing the encryption work, where they were basically going around trying to they were doing a listing, I think, and they were trying to get people to list with them. And then I was speculating that they're doing an en masse transfer of ETH ERC20 tokens into EOS platform because they were both Tim Draper plays. And I remember how much they wanted for that too, because it wasn't cheap, but it was an active move. So
they regret being a token launchpad. They also feel like that was part of what ultimately harmed their core mission, which was to be the best AMM with no impermanent loss. All of the other shit that they added on.
Yeah.
Right? So they're back to a model of let's keep this as simple as possible. They believe that eventually with Carbon and what they're doing, the changes they're making to the core platform, that they will be able to make everyone whole that lost value on Bancor. So we'll see. But anyway, fascinating interview. He's a great guy. He's so much fun to talk to. Former organic chemist.
I like it.
Yeah, he got locked down in Australia, was part of a huge study, was supposed to head to Germany from some discoveries that he had made. He was actually really important in that world related to viruses and tracking things down. Australia locked him down. He couldn't go into the lab to work. And so he got curious about crypto. And now he's leading, one of the OG projects in the space. So,
well, I find like a lot of the traders and people on Wall Street, like the really sharp ones, these guys are like astrophysicists and chemistry majors and physics, because it's all in like stochastic waves and everything like that. It's all these sort of predicting where shit's going to go, Heisenberg uncertainty principle, blah, blah, blah. They can get their heads around this stuff in ways that, I certainly can't. But, I'm always surprised to see those guys up at that level.
Look, my partner Fred was in the middle of getting his doctorate in material science, right? And he created his first tool that we now sell at Material Indicators because he noticed similarities between what he was seeing in charts in crypto and the charts he was using in science. So it makes sense that mindset works that way. So.
Well, it's kind of like there's a universal in mathematics. You find that there's a universal sort of predictor in there that somehow ties into, quantum theory and all of these other stochastic stuff where it's waves, and they always seem to repeat in some predictable way. It's, if you look at it, it's gone, but if you don't look at it, it's there kind of stuff. And so, I think that Fred's a smart guy. You guys are lucky to have latched onto him. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Let me get your thoughts. How do you feel about this? So Ton froze $2.6 billion worth of tokens in people's wallets without their permission for 4 years.
Look, there's always that issue with, who was contributing and who's not and this and that. And I'm just talking to some groups I'm going to meet with out at East Denver about, different types of models where they're using soul-bound NFTs, but that you gain XP by doing things, so that at the end, the DAO governance is coordinated by the people that are actually contributing versus the original whales that invested and then don't do anything. So I kind of see that those models are cool, but this, to me, I can see what they're trying to get at, but it seems pretty damn overhanded to me. I would be pissed if I was just, maybe I was on vacation,
And what do you think they're going to do when the 4 years is up?
Dump.
Every one of those fuckers is going to dump right back into the market, and everything they gained from artificially decreasing the supply goes out the fucking window. To me, it's just really fucking stupid and heavy-handed. I would love, anybody knows anybody a ton, I'd love to hear the rationale, because the articles I've read about it don't give me any good rationale for this. Essentially all I hear them saying is they're trying to reduce the supply. And it's like, well, you're not really reducing the supply. You're just fucking locking them up. Now, if they had said, you know what, there's a technical reason for this. We have to do this because these miners there's some reason, the tokens are needed for something, whatever. If you'd locked them up in a vault and they were earning against it, that might make it a little bit better to swallow. But the fact that you're fucking locking up $2.6 billion in people's value without their permission is just, to me, is totally against the spirit of what we're trying to do here.
Particularly it's Telegram, it's kind of like, I don't know, I guess Signal might have been out before him, but they're a little different. But Telegram to me was always kind of the decentralized communications platform that wasn't routing through a bunch of stuff. So you could go do what you want. And then it morphed into all these other things that, the communities that we like so much. But this just seems like it's got to be a governance reason or something. I don't know what's going on there voting wise, but since they're minor wallets,
it was a vote. It was a vote by the community. And I don't think Telegram team is as daily involved in the foundation anymore. I think when they shut it down, they felt like for legal reasons, they had to let other people run with it.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're involved in it. But to me, I just have a really hard time Now, I will say in the article, they said that there are theories that most of these are just lost wallets. People who did come in and mine because it was easy to mine at the beginning and then forgot they had them or don't know how to recover them or whatever. But I still don't. I still don't see the justification for it. I really just don't. And all I read in this article was that they're just trying to reduce the overall supply, which is this reduces the supply by 20%, right? That's available on the market. But
Yeah.
to me, it just stinks. I would be flaming pissed off if I found out about this later. They did some announcements about it, and then they had a vote in December, and the vote passed in the governance forum, and so now they've locked up, $2.6 billion of people's money.
That was the other thing I just see on the headline to the right, that they did block the Binance Voyager deal today too. I mean, basically, I don't think it was blocked. I thought it was kill it today because of, again, further evidence of how, they're going for, this sort of geofenced regulatory environment in the U.S. because they said that, I think the statement was something like that it would cause Voyager to have to, was it sell tokens or raise money or something? It's probably in the article, but basically just said no.
That's
because it would create a security issuance event or something to that effect. Wait.
Says, according to submitting, SEC believes that some aspects of the asset restructuring plan of Binance U.S. acquisition could breach securities law. The SEC is formally investigating whether Binance U.S. and related debtors violated anti-fraud registration and other provisions of federal securities law. The SEC noted particular concern around the security of assets through the planned acquisition. Argues information provided in the planned purchase of Voyager assets fails to adequately outline whether Binance U.S. or affiliated third parties will have access to customer wallet keys or control over anyone with such access to such wallets. Furthermore, the filing notes insufficient provisions of safeguards to ensure that customer assets are not transferred off the Binance U.S. platform. The SEC also argues that Binance U.S. has not declared internal controls and practices ensuring the safety of customer assets. They're calling for Binance to address these issues by providing information regarding who has access to customer estimates and the necessary controls over the deal is finalized. Yeah, look, I mean, on one side of it, the demands they're making sound reasonable based on kind of the FTX shit that's happened, and so maybe they're just covering their ass. On the other side, it sounds like they may be just trying to fucking harass Binance US. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, look, we were saying last year and a half, 2 years, that CZ needed to cut his deal. And he hasn't.
Yep.
And now I don't think there's a deal to be cut. I think that he's probably now trying to outreach and do a deal, and they're like, no.
Yeah, maybe.
We're done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I'm surprised, the BNB token wasn't taking any hits today either. So it's sort of like, I think everybody just sort of thinks that, Binance is going to end up in HK, Hong Kong, or Dubai, one of those places, and it's going to just service everybody outside of the world, outside of the US, or, everybody who has a VPN. So
Niblett says this makes Ton untouchable. Next. I really love the idea of Ton. I really love it. And
yeah.
I didn't dive into it in the past when we've talked about it, but I mean, I think I have a little bit sitting around somewhere. I'm probably one of those frozen miner wallets.
Yeah, exactly. You find out you got like 18 million frozen. And you're like, damn it.
Lewis.
But it's kind of like a Mt. Gox sort of, forced total,
Yeah. Well, as long as Ton maintains its fucking value. I mean, that's, and then look, that's going to, 20% of fucking supply is going to dump on the market in 4 years if everybody unlocks that. Now, they may be right. Maybe only 1% of that even is accessible anymore. But
they'll probably have another vote. They'll probably have another vote.
Yeah.
And they'll say, okay, we're going to only allow you to unlock 5% of the wallet.
Yeah.
And then but I did read that this vote to do it went to a third round, like a third tiebreaker round or something. So it wasn't like everybody just swarmed to freeze them. Yeah. It took a while to get the community around it. But still, I don't see the logic.
Yeah, I don't either.
If it's abandoned, then they're not going to dump no matter what. So why do you have to lock them?
Exactly. What's the fucking point?
You got to show the picture, okay? You got to show the banker dudes.
Where is he? Oh, there he is.
I was like, I'm going to say something that's going to sound bad, but the line I think is that fiat beat crypto. And I was going to say, is that a typo? Shouldn't have been like fiat eat crypto. I mean, it's just such a, I mean, this guy's supposed to be real. I've never met him, but he's supposed to be super smart. But damn, man, the optics, it just, I mean,
it's bad.
It's not the banker guy you want to show.
No.
You want to show the banker, maybe woman, or you want to show the younger dude or something. You don't want to show.
All he needs is a fucking cigar, and he would just be fucking like every cliche of,
fat cat banker.
Fat cat banker.
I'm not trying to be fat shaming anybody, so apologies. I've got a little paunch on me too, but still, it's not like it's just not. I don't know.
Look,
it's a tough one.
I think Shizzy pointed out that the last time he called this or they called this at BIS, that was the start of the fucking bull market for crypto. It's just, here's what I don't understand. What I don't understand is they know the people involved in this industry don't give a fuck what he says. And to say it and then have the market go bull run in a year or whenever it happens makes you just look like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And holy shit, maybe crypto is better than fiat. I mean, it's just, it doesn't make any fucking sense why you even say shit like this. It's like, have a little strategic thinking. There is zero, you gain nothing from saying this. You're not going to scare people off. You're not going to get people out. And then if crypto blows up again, you look like a complete fucking idiot that can't be trusted. It just makes zero sense to me.
Well, it's like the mission accomplished statement.
Exactly.
That Bush is, and then you're like, for the next 6 years, everybody keeps showing that picture. And it's like, okay. It's kind of like,
that's beautiful, Joe. That's exactly it.
It's kind of like you just can't, you don't do statements like that. And maybe it was after a 4 martini lunch or something, but you still don't do it.
For you youngins that don't know what the fuck we're talking about. This was George Bush claiming mission accomplished in Iraq shortly before the entire country melted down into fucking chaos, murder, terrorism, bombings, dead Americans, dead Iraqis. This was the colossal PR stupidity.
It's kind of like, also we could use a football metaphor with the Patriots in Atlanta in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago when Atlanta was up like 24-7 at half or something, and then Tom Brady came back and won that game. But it's kind of like when like Orlando Magic and maybe the Bulls or something in NBA basketball, maybe the 90s when Shaq was there and Penny Hardaway, and they're up 3-1 and they're having pretty much victory parades in Orlando, and they ended up losing 4-3 and never got back to the finals again.
Yeah.
It just, you cannot gloat. You cannot declare victory because you never win.
Yeah.
There is never the end of the game. I mean, there's the end of a game, yes, but until that whistle sounds or, it's declared over, it ain't over.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. Absolutely.
You got a leaf blower in there?
Yeah, right outside the fucking window, of course. So my wife
gets to work.
my wife sent me this video from Disney that she took. Can you see this kid getting dragged by his mother? Oh man. Disney's always a funny time. I love how everybody's running around with those like Fred Flintstone sized turkey legs everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, and then you're like, wow, all right. I mean, I see why everybody makes fun of us.
I tweeted, this is Coinbase bringing their users to DeFi.
I love it, man. I love it. Oh, crazy.
I did a laughing out loud emoji on this when my wife was like, I know you didn't mean to laugh. That poor kid is getting hurt, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, give me a fucking break. It's funny as shit. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I guess they don't let you put leashes on kids anymore, right?
I don't know.
I used to see that at the beach sometimes. They'd have a kid on a leash.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you're like, and they'd stake it in the sand so they couldn't get too far on the water and drown.
yeah, yeah.
And then everybody sits around and plows through, like 25 beers or something, and then get the kid. They just reel them in.
One more thing. This one was. Let me see. Where was it? This is another yield that came up. Reaper on Optimism has WBTC at 32.31%.
Wow.
Yeah. Sean, go wrap your Bitcoin. You know you want to.
Brad, is this something you have to tell us?
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait, man. You guys are taking this show's taking too long.
So what are those like yellow? Is that they're inactive? Okay.
Yeah. Why do they even show me inactive? How do I filter that off?
Just say pick winners for me.
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, exactly. Where is that? Now I don't see just a single-sided BTC here. WBTC here. See, that's the problem.
What's that on Spooky Swap with like the third row down, purple? What are those ones? Does it look like FTM BTC?
Yeah. 13.883, 6.005. Oh, here it is. FTM BTC. See that what's his name? DeFi Llama still does have some glitches on the yields they're showing because that 32% was showing as just Bitcoin. Let me make sure I'm not wrong here. Yeah, they're just showing it as just BTC. They're missing out on Reaper showing the other side of the pair. So that's an FTM WBTC. But look, if you're a true believer in both, that's a nice yield. And I love and I trust the guys at Reaper. That's a solid ass team giving back to the community. They're the Justin Bibas that I interviewed is a mensch, and they invest a shit ton in training new developers and all kinds of other shit for the community. So
Justin Bieber?
Bibas.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry.
Bibas. Yes. Me and Justin Bieber are talking DeFi.
I thought you guys would be breaking out in some dance moves or something like that.
My favorite musical artist.
Yeah, I know you love him, man. You got a little Justin crush.
Yeah.
Isn't that guy like 45 now?
Well, you know who my date is to his show, right?
No. His
Elizabeth
wife?
Warren.
So you're basically coming out with that one now? I thought we wanted to keep that under wraps.
Nah, I'm all out. I'm all out.
You're like he likes the Cougars, man. He likes the Cougars.
Me and Lizzie are gonna go see Justin in concert, and then we're gonna go.
Well, maybe you could
dump some cash in his Reaper farm yield farming.
There you go. Yeah, maybe you could educate her a little bit on crypto, since she, clearly
she understands it completely. She's saying "fuck you" to everybody. So she doesn't give a shit.
Actually, I have a quick little story. One of my buddies is, I was hanging out with him, and he had to get on a conference call with her office. He's a treasury guy, and I was like, "Do they even know what they're talking about?" He's like, "God, I should be careful how I say this," but he was basically, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but I'm like, he's like, "Nah, they don't know at all," and all they're just
talking out of their fucking ass.
Well, he didn't say that, but
that's what I'm saying.
But it just comes because I was like, how her position seems so not consistent on so many things. Like a lot of the progressives in my mind. Yeah. That it's all about we want to protect the common man, woman, let's say, but we know better than they do, and we want to basically tell them what they can and can't do. So, because it was about banking or something like that. I can't remember the exact discussion, but, I'm like, I got the sense that nobody in that office really knows what they're trying to do, that it's just all about, generating support and, like many politicians, feeding the fundraising mill. So, I kind of have always thought that she had good intentions, but then I kind of realized that what is she's like 90 now, right? I mean,
I don't know. She doesn't give a shit about anybody. Well, she claims
you were hanging out with her in a bikini, right?
Yeah. She claims to fucking give a shit about the little man, she gives a shit about her power and control. She's lost touch with everything that she started off running for. I believe she was probably like that when she first started running, and she was a huge advocate. She beat the shit out of the banks. And it's just pitiful that here, you know me, I like to be in the middle. So do you. These extremes of needing to control people. On one end, it's religion and moral attitudes. On the other end, it's people's money and protecting them from themselves. They're both fucking idiots. And she is so absorbed with the power she has that she doesn't even take the time to use the intellectual prowess that she has, because she's a smart fucking woman, to actually look at this thing and see what it could do for the average man. And what it could do against, her biggest enemy her entire career has been big banks. And she fucking jumped.
Well, it's always funny to me because, everybody goes and says they want to protect the common person from crypto, but yet, nobody talks about like DraftKings and FanDuels and, I'm not picking on those guys, but gambling on the phone. It's like, how is that like better than people like investing in crypto?
Yep.
I don't see it. And so if you're going to go after crypto and DeFi and everything like that to protect the common person, that's much worse than
I was at the fucking 7-Eleven watching a line of 4 people fork out $20 to $80 to buy fucking scratch off cards. And I'm like, what the fuck? Seriously? Now, the good news is that money does go into education in the state of Florida. So, it pays for those bright scholarships that my son's going to get. But it's just...
It's dopamine, like we always talk about. It's a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
When you buy $1 for that scratch off card, you're buying the dream of, God, if I won this like $10 million, what would I do with it? And it's basically, evolves to like everything's good. It's going to be okay then. Yeah. But it never is.
It never is.
And gambling's a little less that way to me because it's kind of 50-50. You try to grind a little edge, but it's very hard to be a professional gambler and win. It's more about making the games more exciting. But crypto, if you learn and study, you actually have a chance to actually really win and change things. You're buying execution risk. Of course, we're betting on execution risk. You're betting on adoption, things like that, but at least you have a shot. Yep. And so why is that the one that gets picked on first?
That's a great point, dude. That's
the banks don't want it right now. So and you would think Elizabeth Warren, like you said, she was anti-bank. She was head of that Consumer Protection Bureau that I think Obama put in place that lasted a little while until it got canned. But, of course,
She slapped the shit out of the credit card companies. She slapped the shit out of the banks. I don't know where I was, where I read, I don't know if it was you telling me or an interview I was listening to, that the banks are terrified of her. And so they've reached this equilibrium where she has so much control over them. And she snaps and says, you will fucking stop doing this. And they don't. They stop it because they got so burned by her in the past. Yeah. That the theory is that she has I know what it was. It was the one from the Blockchain Association. The theory is she has so much fucking control over the banks right now. She doesn't want anything else getting in the mix. She wants to fucking shut everything out because she's controlling the banks and thinks that she's fulfilling her mission, So anyway, I don't know.
Oh, well.
I don't know. I'm done, dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty burnt right now as well. So I'm feeling better though today.
That's good. I'm sniffly as fuck. I think it's cats, but I'm still sniffly. Yeah. Look, I to wrap it up, I think we both agree this Coinbase move is a smart strategic move.
Yeah.
And that it was really a necessary move on their part. I think short term, there's not a real big impact on things like Phantom and Polygon, et cetera, except for potentially developer recruitment. Now, if I'm Coinbase, I come out of the gate in 2 months and I have a, $500 million fund, stacked with VCs for developers to come on board. Like, really simple, easy shit. Like come here now with your platform and build, and we'll make you, if you get funded by us, you'll be in the wallet as an icon, right?
I wonder if they're going to be at ETH Denver.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, they'll absolutely be at ETH Denver.
Yeah, cool. Well, we're going to talk to a lot of the other groups and see what they think of the move too.
Yeah.
Because look, one of the things, remember, I was told before we go real quick, a buddy of mine was, wanting to get into crypto a couple of years ago. And I said, well, just go in through Coinbase.
Yeah.
And so he did it. And then they were like, you can't move anything off the exchange for 2 weeks once you show up there. So I wonder if there's going to be like a gatekeeper thing on this one as well. Like if you go in there, can you then go over to Phantom with it if you want? Can you bridge out to other L2s and other layer ones? Or are they going to keep it compartmented? I don't know. That'll be an interesting thing to figure out. But yeah, good for DeFi. 110 million users coming in some way, shape, or form. When does it get built? When do they come? I don't know.
Yeah,
but still, it's a positive thing, and it's something that's long game wise. It shows that there are going to be the regulated players coming in with cash, regulated retail. So not that I'm a huge Coinbase fan, but I like it.
Yeah, me too. Smart move.
All right, man.
Really smart move. All right, folks. Euphoric Niblets 0x. I need a name for him. Let's just call him 10.
Let's call him Ox.
0x10. What do you want to call him?
Ox.
Ox. Okay, we'll call him Ox. Okay, that's friends. Goat's milk. Niblets, Euphoric, Shizzy. Thank you, all of you, for participating today. We love and appreciate that you're here. We love that you take part in the discussion. Look forward to chatting with you guys and Mr. Sean tomorrow. It's Sean Day.
That's right.
Sean Day, new day, Sean Day. Sean Day, isn't that an artist? Sean Day? Isn't that like a pop artist?
Sade?
No, I know Sade. I think there's a Shande.
Shakira, Shande. I don't know, man.
Let's call it Shande. I'll find a music.
Maybe it's a Bollywood movie or something.
Yeah. Remind me to tell you the story of my son downloading pirated SpongeBob movie.
Sounds problematic. What was it called? Sponge porn?
No, it was fucking SpongeBob. I was like, dude, really? This is what you do? I got a letter from AT&T that Paramount Pictures said these people stole our shit. Because he had used Tor to download a SpongeBob. And so that was our one warning before our internet access was terminated. So I told him.
I mean, considering you're such a big fan of, not like it's a bad thing, of artist rights, I'm surprised that you didn't ground him for a couple of weeks.
Well, he knows full well that I am absolutely opposed to pirating and I will not tolerate it. So we talked about that. There was a friend involved, but I'm not going to put the blame on the friend, but there was a friend involved.
Yeah.
But secondarily, I was also fucking disappointed that he have enough sense to fucking put on a VPN.
Yeah. You got to teach him
seriously,
better.
Dude. Porn,
my daughter,
and illegal activities. Turn on the fucking VPN.
Yeah, no, my daughter had something similar. She was like, her and her friends were in her room. This is when they were like 8 or 9, and they were searching up something like, sex or something like that. And then all of a sudden, some pop up came in that said it was the FBI and shit, and that whatever, she's going to be in trouble. And so all this clunking going on back there. And she had like ripped the computer out of the wall and unplugged everything instantly. And I was like, I said, honey, those are just fake pop-ups. Don't worry about that. And she's like, good move. I was like, but I'll tell you a little story about digital rights and those Tor downloads. Because real quick, there's this lawyer who ran around getting those records and he'd send them all letters. And he'd say, oh, you got downloaded 10 movies. That subjects you to what? 14 million in fines and 80 years in jail, or you could just send me $25,000 right now, and everybody would just send him $25,000.
I know, it's fucking crazy.
And I was like, that there's so many people that run those kind of like, I don't know if it's a hustle or a grift or what, but it's a shakedown, whatever. But it goes on all the time. I've seen it in real estate too, and it's just kind of like stay on your toes, everybody.
I don't know what niblets means.
That the day after, Sean Day.
Oh, Sean Day. Oh, yeah.
Sunday, yeah.
Sean Day.
Oh, yeah, Sean Day. Yeah, it's tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow is Sean Day. All right.
All right, buddy, let's go.
If you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss out any of this amazing intellectual goodness. And take 2 minutes, please, right now. Write a review. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Check the little bell so you get alerted when new episodes come out. And Joe would like for you to smash the thumbs up.
Smash that thumbs up.
Smash it, smash it, smash it. You know, Joe, in the car this morning, I was listening to us. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing.
I kind of listen to the episodes sometimes too. I actually find it enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, because I'm always like, I hope we don't sound like idiots or, don't come across poorly. But then, because we crack a lot of jokes too. But I actually find it's not, it seems okay to me.
Oh, so. Fucking A, I forgot. I was up to 1 a.m. screening
Really?
Canto projects videos, demo videos.
Ooh.
And giving them all notes because we can't take all of them onto the actual hackathon, right? So they asked 3 of us to screen them and weed out. Dude, out of the 50 something I watched, 35, if I were a venture capitalist, I'd put money in. Like remember when we were talking about the fucking CSR shit and the lending model?
Yeah.
And all of the potential things that you could do around that? Some guys already fucking built most of what we talked about on the show.
I love it.
Dude, there's so much cool shit. Some amazing fucking games. Like really cool fucking games. Not like arcade level first person shooter games, but strategy games and some really clever, creative people. Like, there's a lot that need help with how to pitch and how to present. So I did a lot of that kind of editing, but they're not judged on how they present. They're judged on the idea and if it fits the ethos and all that. But I mean, some really amazing DeFi shit, some really cool NFT platforms, and some really fun game platforms.
Can we talk about a couple of them tomorrow before Sean starts?
Yeah, let me check with them, make sure they're okay with me talking about them in general terms, because I don't want to steal the thunder of the hackathon, but
good point.
But some really fucking amazing. I'm like blown away, dude. Just blown away by what's coming into Canto. So
yeah, I mean, look, unfortunately I have a very small token position, which I think you gave me, but it's to get in there. But I love what they're doing too.
Get in there, dude. We're setting up that validator node. Everybody look for Kilroy on your validator node list, and you can dump some validator nodes in there. We're going to do something special for everybody that does it, like kickbacks on your rebate or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Oh, cool. All right.
All right, boys and girls. Thank you, Joe. Have a great day, everybody. Joe, you got anything else you'd like to say?
Nope. Got to go. Just thanks, everyone. Always enjoy doing this. And